Meet Stigg. He's 15 and all the girls like him. This specific girl is Stigg's neighbor, Lisbeth, and she really likes him. Fast forward to the next day and we're in biology class. Miss Viola's biology class. Every boy in class has a crush on Miss Viola and she knows it. Everyone's learning some biology and to also pass the time are also passing around a single piece of chewing gum. They're all chewing. When suddenly a fly appears. Stigg then kills the beast with a makeshift slingshot like a true alpha. Class is over. For everyone except Stigg. Miss Viola stops him and tells him that chewing used gum ain't hygienic and to also clean up the dead fly guts from her board. Stigg does as he's told, all the while eyeballing Miss Viola. Stigg then heads home quickly because this is the day that his brother, who was off fighting in World War II, comes home. Stigg looks around for said brother and can't find him. He then asks his mom where his brother's at. She said he went to run some errands. Stigg then reads a letter on the table and finds out his brother's leaving again because he's transferred to a submarine unit. Stigg gets upset and attempts to leave the house but bumps into his neighbor Lisbeth. She tries to spark up a conversation but Stigg isn't with it and leaves. He's working at his local movie theater when his brother surprises him. His brother says that he's very excited to fight in the war and Stigg shouldn't worry. Stigg is reading a dictionary before class one day to show his big brain and Viola walks in. Stigg puts the book back and eyeballs Miss Viola. Viola catches him but doesn't say anything. From this moment on, my mans is simping hard. He stares at her in class all the time and even stares at her outside her house sometimes. Light stalker tendencies. One day Viola asks if any students can help her bring some things home to her house after class. And you already know my man Stigg says absolutely. All the other kids have a crush on Viola as well, but they recognize Stigg as the leader of the pack and keep their hands down. Fast forward to Viola's house because I know y'all want to get straight to it. Viola and Stigg accidentally get into a heated position, then begin to kiss. Viola pulls away because she realizes this is all quite wrong and heads to her room. Stigg follows her. They kiss some more and start having an affair. And y'all waited this long, so here's some footage of said affair. Boom! Cut the class. All the kids head over to watch airplanes after school. Stigg then says he has to go and heads over to Viola's house for a surprise visit. She looks at Stigg like he's bugging, but she lets him in anyway. They're hanging out when she tells him not to come through unannounced because her husband might be home from work. Stigg is over one day when her husband comes home. Her husband doesn't think much of the situation because he's Viola's student. Viola's husband strikes up a conversation with Stigg. They begin to talk about classical music, who they are both fans of. Stigg's father never appreciated classical music, so Stigg instantly bonds with Viola's husband. Viola and Stigg start to hang out pretty often after that since they figure they can't get caught. One day Stigg can't sleep, so he heads over to Viola's place. He figures out her husband is there and heads home instead of just fighting her husband and asserting his dominance. A few days pass by and we find out it's Viola's birthday. Stigg buys her some flowers and heads to her place, but she's not home. Her husband walks in though and the two have a conversation. Husband starts telling Stigg about his job and classical music, and we then see Stigg and Viola taking a nap. Stigg and Viola start pretty often in the coming days when one day Stigg runs into Viola's husband in a pretty compromising outfit. Husband goes, "It's cool man, you can my wife, no biggie, let's hang out." And the two begin to talk and play soccer sometimes. It turns out Viola's husband knew about the affair the whole time. He reveals that he cheated on Viola when they first got married and they never moved past it. He spends his time drinking and she spends her time cheating. It's a win-win. Lisbeth is at her house putting on an interesting outfit while everyone in her building is having a dinner party. Lisbeth invites Stigg over to her place and locks the door. She then tells Stigg to close his eyes and takes off all her clothes, but since y'all don't want to see all that, I'll cover her up for you. She says she wants Stigg to take her and accept her love. He says, nah, he's good, and she puts her clothes on. Stigg is at Viola's house and asks why she doesn't divorce her husband. She says, why would she do that? She can do whatever she wants. She has a good thing going. Stigg and husband are hanging out and talking one day. They're having a wholesome and really meaningful conversation and seem to really like each other. Husband then gets drunk and passes out. Viola walks in and says to hurry up and come to her room. Stigg feels bad for husband, so he gets up and leaves. In class one day, Stigg is writing on the board when Viola writes she'll visit him tonight at his place. Stigg immediately goes to the bathroom and doesn't know how to respond because husband is his dog now and he can't just keep smashing his boy's wife. Anyway, Stigg is hiding in the girls' locker room because he doesn't want to go back to class and can't help but take a little peek. Lisbeth is one of the last girls in the locker room, and she must be looking mighty fine to him in her prison-style white tee, cause he shoots a piece of paper at her to get her attention. Lisbeth spots Stigg and they get it on. They're at his place when she asks him how he knows so much about a woman's needs, and he says movies, since he works in a movie theater. Very smooth cover. From then on, Lisbeth and Stigg spend a lot of time together. Things seem to be going pretty smoothly for Stigg until he hears on the radio that a submarine has been blown up. He freaks out a bit because if you remember from earlier in the movie, his brother was in the submarine unit. And well, he has good reason to freak out because one day, a Navy officer walks into Stigg's house and tells him his brother didn't survive and is not coming home. Stigg gets sad and cries, and has a drink. He then comforts his mom, who's also having a cry. Stigg is at work one day and gets a visit from Viola since he stopped giving her attention and ghosted her. Lisbeth also walks into the theater to find Stigg, and well, she finds him. Stigg tries to console Lisbeth, but she breaks up with him for cheating on her with their teacher. Stigg then heads over to Viola's house to break up with her the next day, and sees that she's pretty drunk. She tells him to sleep with her. He says nah, he's here to end things. She then shockingly breaks a bottle of alcohol and threatens the minor to take off his clothes and give it to her. He starts to take off his clothes and she literally rapes him. The next day, she then fails him in biology and says she got permission from the principal to make him retake the class since he doesn't want to come to her place. Stigg says he will tell the police about their relationship, but she claims no one will believe him. He also finds out she ripped out all the records of his grades so he won't have any proof. Also, at around this time in the movie, a plane flies over and dumps fuel on some students, injuring them, which really doesn't have anything to do with the story, but I figured some of you would like to see it. He's riding on the board one day and she starts to lift her skirt up. Stigg absolutely loses it and kicks her desk over. Stigg gets sent to the principal's office and asks to be transferred to a new class. Principal says, nah man, get out. Stigg starts to cry. On the way back from Stigg's brother's funeral, his mother wonders if he's okay and believes all the strain from his work and the death of his brother caused him to fail. She then begins to wonder if anything more caused him to fail, and he tells her not to worry and he'll tell her the whole story when she's older. Stigg then visits Viola's husband and asks him for help in clearing his name. Viola's husband remains passive and says he'll be staying neutral. And at this point, Stigg is probably thinking, I should have just kept smashing your wife. We see Viola congratulating all the graduating students when Stigg walks in and takes off all his clothes. He then heads back to class, takes all the books, and leaves. And well, that's the end of the movie. A story about a boy who learned that anyone could be a villain, anyone could be a hero, and that someone who truly loves you can be lost in an instant. Well, in the end, he turned out to be pretty lame, but we'll put him under hero because the outro won't sound as good if we don't. Thanks for tuning in, guys. And if you enjoyed the recap, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Take care.